Hi guys, sorry for the delay. It took a bit of reboot and a driver update because I installed the drivers for the other camera. They're both from the same manufacturer. There was a driver conflict. As normal when you're working with computers, anything you do, they turn around and bite you in the posterior. This is the view with the camera that we normally use for comet hunting. So you can see the difference. That's the same configuration, no Barlow, no zoom in, just the raw camera. So you can see the difference of field of view. And just there's the landing sites. Remember when we zoomed right in? Just there. Just there. So the difference, the camera and the pain in the posterior that you get when you try to do too many things with too many different pieces of equipment. Right, let's bring up Stellarium, and I need to do an alignment. Max that screen for a second, zoom into that. Just move this out of the way. See if I can centralize the view. Right. We will synchronize to what's roughly the center of the moon. That puts the scope right in the middle of there. So the software thinks that's where it's pointing. So we'll just do a test run to Arcturus. So we should be pretty close to Arcturus. And this will just give us a very basic polar alignment, scope alignment. So we need to take this off video mode. There it is. So we need to take this off video mode, put it on long exposure mode, and there you go. So if we just get that roughly in center of screen, wrong way. This is all the stuff you wouldn't normally see because I'll be setting this up before starting the stream. So you're seeing what behind the scenes looks like when you're setting up. I'm going to assume that's a 1/4 second exposure. Put the binning on one by one. That's a 1/4 second exposure, and that's reasonable focus. I'm not going to mess with that. Right then, did you want to go and have a look at that star cluster before we go shooting off for the comet? See if we can shoot across to that. Let me just synchronize on that one first. Right, just bear with me. Bye-bye Arcturus. Turn the exposure up to about 5 seconds, and we'll have a really quick look at the star cluster of how big it is in a normal type view compared to what we saw when we had the other camera. Right then, so there it is. So let me just centralize that a little bit, and then I'll turn the exposure up, and then you can see it. This is only in mono, this is not a color camera. Right, now we've got that on screen. Let's turn the exposure up to 15 seconds and you'll see how dense that collection of stars is. This is the joy of exploration. Swan is a little bit low on the horizon for me. I could possibly get it about 4 o'clock in the morning, but it will be really, really low, and I'd have to wait for a gap between houses to get it. And let's just stretch. There we go. That's that cluster of stars that we were looking at earlier on. And there's a slight difference between what you see here on this camera and what you saw on the other camera. And if we increase the exposure even more, we should start to bring out some of the fainter stars that are there that we can't actually see at these levels. And if we have a quick look, focus is reasonable. It's not spot on, but it's reasonable. And then after we've done this, we'll shoot across, see if we can't find that pesky little comet. Another 9 more seconds, and we've not set the gain on the camera at the minute. 200 was the magic number, wasn't it? There we go. Right, let's clear that and have a look. A bit of movement there. Give that one more exposure, and then I'll bring the stellarium across, and then we'll shoot over to the comet and see if we can find the comet. Well, if you go to that Sky Live, bring up one of the comets, you can bring up the 3D tracker, and you could actually pick a date and time which will be the best time to have a go at photographing. You can plan ahead, which I should have done for tonight's event. Right, let's bring up stellarium. Let's find Capella, and then let's drop onto this little beastie over here. Right, we need a bright target just to... That's very close to my horizons. That's just above 30 degrees. We should have come up here earlier. That's very close to my minimum horizon, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to pick this up this evening. But where's the scope? The scope's coming all the way around the world and coming back. Let's move this out of the way, and let's do auto expose left. Drop the exposure down to about 4 or 5, and then we'll see what's in the star field when it stops. Right, 5 seconds. Can't tell me that's not it just there. No. Right. We need a reference. So let's pull up that site. Go to comets. Go to tracker. Oh yeah, it's dropping in intensity. We need to find right. TYC 3742. NEQ6-1. There we go, let's find that. Pretty much right next to it. So we should be within the area. Let's see if we can find Capella for a reference. If we can bring Capella up on screen, we know we'll be pretty close, but it'll be pretty close to the my horizon limits. Just bear with me, just got to slew round to land on Capella, then we've got a fixed reference point, and then we just do a hop straight across to the comet. See, the lazy way would be me to go outside and sight down the tube to Capella, but that loses the reference points for when we swing back. And that is really close to the rooftops, because my secondary camera is just picking up the rooftops and no starfield. Right. I might have to nip out and do a manual alignment, because this can take anything from a few seconds to quite a few minutes. Yeah, there's no stars there, so I think we're right on the horizon limit. Bear with me, I'm just going to go outside and check status, see if we'll be able to pick it up. Right, it's not going to be a go this evening, because the roof line, what time we got? 11:10. The roof line is completely obscuring our target. See, that line there is my horizon limit, and the scope's just below it. See, that's my 30-degree limit, so we should have gone a little bit earlier on. Right, what else can we find this time of the evening? Let's see if there's another comet that we can go and have a look at. What's got the green symbol? Y1 Atlas or T2 Pan-STARRS? Both roughly the same. Let's have a look at this on the tracker, see where we've got to go find this one. This is a slow mover, so we should be able to find this one. You might see. Right, let's bring that across there. Let me just zoom in a bit. (4526) -284 -1. There we go, find that. Right, shouldn't be too far away. We should be able to find this one. Right, move that screen out of the way. And let's see if we can find this one. Can't see anything on that screen. Let's have a look on this one. Nothing on that one. This might be fun, trying to find this one. Bottom of the screen. Hey Genius, how you going, mate? We're looking for a different comet this evening. The other one's just below my horizons, unfortunately. Let me just go check for reference, see where we've got to look for. Just going to salute to a reference star just to double check location. So what we're looking for now is a nice bright star to come centre screen. or at least on the screen. So I've not got a reference star on this side of the equator yet. Right, bear with me, the other one's picked it up, I think. Yeah, let me just bring this one center screen. The new ASCOM software, the one with all the numbers on screen and that are used for moving the scope around, has been updated, although I've not installed it because that's one problem I didn't want to be fighting with this evening. The new software gives you remote control, as in across the internet. Here it is, here's that bright star that we come across for. So at some point I might release control to one of you out there to have a go with the telescope, under supervision of course. Right, let's just get this reference star right in the middle, and then we should be able to slew across to the comet. It's stepping. There you go, that's close enough. Let me get back on that one. Right, that's that one. Now let me bring up that star name again, that one. And let me type it in. TYC 4526 -284 -1. Right, that should bring, there it is, found it straight away now. Look, once we've got that reference star, under my pointer now, there's the comet. It's easy to spot once you get your eyes used to looking for it. Right, let's just go to a proper exposure, clear the buttons, and it should be somewhere in the middle. So this is Comet C 2017 T2 Pan-STARRS, and there it is, look, right centre of screen. So let's do a little stretch. Ooh, too much, too much. There you go, another comet for your collection. And this one won't be breaking up. But if you notice, it's not got as a distinct tail as the other one, as Atlas Y4. Let me move the magnifier out of the way. There's no distinctive tail. Not all comets follow the fashion rules. Oh, what time do I stop? Well, I've not got work tomorrow, so and I've got nobody here to tell me to go to bed. You're not going to tell me to go to bed, are you? So nobody's here is going to tell me or slap my wrist for not going to bed early. So I'm going to stop up till I get tired, which might be silly o'clock in the morning. Because while the skies are clear, and we can find little things like this on screen right now, this is another comet that I don't think any of you have seen, have you? Because this is the first time I've taken you to it. I photographed this one many months ago, before I started streaming. So this is Comet C 2017 T2 Pan-STARRS. So if you want to start a logbook, you can add that into your collection. And if we have a look in there, there's no distinct tail on that. And let's see if we can press a few buttons as we normally do this time of the evening. See if we can find a tail. There's a little bit of a bloom to the rear. Let's put up to 30-second exposure because it's a slow mover. We should be able to find a little bit of something out there. So let me clear, and there goes one of the starlinks. So let's clear the stretch and see what we can pull out with a longer exposure. You want to see swan, do you? Right, if you bear with me a few minutes when we get a couple of exposures on this, I'll bring up the 3D planetarium and see what time it actually arises so I can get hold of it. There we go. I can start to see a bit of a tail on that. Let's do a stretch. Bit too much, and there's a little bit of a bloom coming off in that sort of a direction, but nothing definitive. There's nothing definitive there. Just check focus on the stars. Focus is not quite tight, so we could just do with a little bit of tweaking on the focus just to tighten that up a little bit. But there's your second comet for those who want to make notes of what you've actually seen. I used to keep a meticulous logbook about everything that I visited, the times, the conditions, and I lost it. Difficult to explain how. It was in the days I used to be out in the observatory, standing on the steps and putting my eyeball up to the eyepiece. And used to have a little logbook. I used to make notes and just keep it there. And one evening when I was closing everything down, I'm bringing the logbook in, and while I was locking the observatory up, I left it on top of the dustbin, and it happened to be a Thursday night going into a Friday morning, and my bins get emptied on a Friday morning, and I think that's where my last logbook went. And I had about 4.5 years of observations into there. I even did a few sketches which were quite comical in themselves. No, it's not train spotting, but having notes about the conditions and everything, it helps remember settings and remember what you need to tweak. If it's slightly hazy, what filters you used. Did the green filter work with this particular target or what? These little notes, I mean, I couldn't tell you what comet I was looking at 4 years ago, what filter I used on it, because when you use your eyepiece, filters do make a slight difference. Yeah, the kit I've got's not leading edge, but it's adequate for what I do. I enjoy what I do, and in the evening times when it's clear like this and I don't need to get up in the morning, it's fun. It's fun. Right, let's have a look at this swan malarkey. Let's see where she's going to be in the morning. That one. Let's go back to the Sky Live. Swans are now a naked eye target, so you should be able to see swan with your naked eye. See the symbol there? Visible to the naked eye. With it being red, that means it's way out of my target area. So let's get the tracker up and pick a reference star nearby. If I pick that one there, what's that? HIP 2119. If I find HIP 2119, oh look, two comets together. That's linear to C27b3, two comets almost side by side. There would be a possibility of getting both of them on the same shot. So let's have a look at HIP 2119. See where that is on stellarium. Way below ground. Right. Squeeze the ground level off. And if I bring stellarium across, you can see when it rises. Right. It's just there. That's the major star near it. So it is somewhere close to that main star there. So if I back off out and fast forward to bring that above pardon me, horizon, Sun and Mercury, if I look southish and we fast forward now, put the ground back in, and Mars and Jupiter are cresting, and there she comes, look. So if we just pause it there, put the ground level back in, it's on the same level as the Sun. But because it's so bright, we might be able to get an image, but it's 15 degrees. 15 degrees below my horizons, that. However, because it's got clear skies tomorrow, I might have a go at whatever time that hits south. When it gets to that line there, I'll check the time, and (10:31 in the morning), 10:30 tomorrow morning, if I'm awake and it's clear skies, so if any of you lot's awake at 10:30 tomorrow morning, did you want to see if we can find swan? I think it would be a challenge to find it in daylight, because before 10:30 it's way below my horizons. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 10:30 a.m. That's correct. Yep, that's the position it is now. Well, if you have a look on the, if I bring up the, right, see that star there, that double star there? That's what I've got highlighted on the screen. If I just go into that one, there, look, double star. Bring back up that one. There's that double star, and that should put f8 Swan in the target for my camera. Because it's moving quite fast. It's moving quite fast. And these both look like they're on a colliding course, a collision course. So in a few days you might get two together. Right. Let's see if Stellarium actually can find Swan. That's Swan Nebula. Let's see. Oops. C2020 F8. Nope. No, it's not going to find it. Yep. Well, 10:30 is when it becomes above 25 degrees, and if it's directly south, I've got a gap between houses, so I should be able to get it at about, if you have a look down here, 10:35 in the morning tomorrow, UK time. Yep. So if you wanted to join in, see if you can find it, I think it will be a challenge in daylight, because the reason we found Venus this afternoon was because its magnitude is -4. This is about magnitude 2, so it's close. Whether we find it or not will be the challenge. We might not necessarily see its tail, but we should find its body. And I'm sure there was a way on here to add comets onto the search criteria, but I can't find it. It should be somewhere just here. Right, I'll set up for about 10 o'clock or whatever time I fall out of bed, and I'll get everything pointing in the right direction. And if all else fails after that, we can always drop back onto Venus for a bit and do some long exposures on Venus and see if we can get some surface detail on the planet Venus, which would be nice. I just can't understand why it's not picking up the comet like it does the other ones. I know there's Uranus, that's pretty dim, we're not able to get that one. Mercury and the Sun, we could have a look for sunspots as well, make it a multi-event, have a look at other things. You should be able to see it, because the reason I not be there and I not be trying is because if I can't photograph it, I don't feel right telling people that I've seen it. I like to be able to say, look what I've seen, and show them the picture. So I'd like to get an image. I suppose I could set my tripod up. Oh, I just wondered why that was so high. I've not got the time set. Yeah, well, we can go and have a look on the sun. I can put the solar filters on, and we can have a look at the surface of the sun. Try this new camera out on that. It might be worth giving that a try. Let's go and have a look what the comet's doing. It's going past that star there. Look, it's got a friend. It's definitely not got a tail in these images. When the next exposure comes out, we'll see how far it moves compared to that star. Not very. Right, let's have a look on the tracker software. Hang on, we need that one. We need that one. And then if we go back to the 3D orbit, yeah, if you look at the plane of the orbital lines, it's in the southern hemisphere. Earth is going to come round. Let's go a day at a time. 23rd. It's just coming up to the meridian on the 23rd. Hang on, how do you reset? Fourteenth of May. Yeah, the 14th looks like from the 14th onwards it'd be above my 30-degree minimum, and it should line up with Venus as well. Will it? No, it's going to be behind. What's going to be Uranus? So I might be able to get a multi-shot with Uranus and Comet Swan. So from the 15th, right, looks like it's going to be the 15th. Let's have a look where it is on the 23rd. Right, that's the 23rd. It's going to be really high. And what's it going to line up with? No, the major planets are below it. So that's Earth, and we're looking from behind Earth towards it. So that's going to be quite high in the sky. So yeah, 23rd is going to be quite high in the sky. And let's have a look at time. At midnight. Yeah, from about 11 o'clock. Let's just go back, keep it at that time frame. It's going to be still in daylight. Because we'll be looking towards the sun. Yeah, from the 15th we should be it should be above the horizon, so we should be able to get some evening pictures. Pan stars. T2 pan stars. Magnitude 8.7. Right. And Swan's going to be magnitude 5.2, which should just be, yeah, look, visibility right now from Mansfield just below the horizon. So let's see if we can select the 23rd. Yep, the 23rd look brings it above the horizon. Y4 would be better for us at about 9 o'clock, because that'll be higher up above my horizon limit of 30 degrees. So 9:15. It's not fully dark then, but we should be able to find it. I'm going to end any time that anybody's bored, because I might just carry on looking at some of the other comets. Move this out of the way, because right now we've got T2 pan stars there passing by. Let's clear the tweaks, zoom in close, and there we go. Right, was there anything in particular that you would like to have a look at while we're here? I can bring up Stellarium, go to now. Right, this is my southern view now. Got the moon high up, and the scope right now is just high enough there to be able to pick out some decent targets. Right, we don't want Polaris clusters. What we got? Cigar Galaxy, we've done that one before. Tiger's Eye Galaxy, what's that one? 9. Right, let's go and have a look at the Tiger's Eye Galaxy, shall we? So I don't think I've done many galaxies for us, have I? Y1, let's have a look at Y1. Let's bring up the map. Y1, where are you? That's T2, Y1. Yeah, that's above the horizons. Let's go to the tracker. It's pretty well moving, pretty standard moving. Should be able to get it. Right, let's have a look on here. See if we can find. There's those 2 stars. Right, let me just have a look on the screen for a reference. 40150, HIP 40150. Right, hit 40150. Right, let's slew across to here. Just above will be right, let's have a look. Satellites, loads of satellites. Right, I'm just looking for a reference to our exact position. 3869. That's 39. 41208. And now we need right, it should be somewhere close. That's the reference star we're looking for. Right, let me just get a bit more of a handle on where we got to be for this target, because it's a slow mover. I need to get a good reference star. .38669. 38669. Just bear with me. A bit of a way away, and it's close to ground. Have I got the right one? .38869 donkey. .39538. That is. Can't see that one on there. Right, let's slew to that one. Bring the screen up. Right, it's in this general area. Just got to do a little bit of searching to track it down. Let's drop the exposures down to 10 seconds. Stop that, start that, drop that. One, clear that. Right, just 10-second exposures, hopefully. And do a stretch. That'll be the reference star I was looking for. Let's just centralize that star in the middle, and then should be able to drop a bit closer to the target. Yeah, when you get your own scopes, you'll get to enjoy these moments of distraction when you're trying to home in on a target. Right, let me just set that. Right, the next bit is TYC. Come on, you pain in the posterior, light up. Can't pick it up off the screen, it's obscured. Right, here we go. Four, 5, 4, 6. 1, 4, 2, 5. Right. Slew the scope across there. We're in tight, so in theory, somewhere in the screen this time, there's a chance that there'll be a comet here. And I can't see anything there. Something there. Do a slightly longer exposure. No. Right, let me just zoom in for a reference. I bet you're loving this. Going south. 40150. Let me just hop to this next star, see if this one's central. Yeah, it's never as straightforward when you're trying to find a comet, especially when you've not had a reference. Because in the past, we've been and we know roughly what to look for. Get this search window across. 40150. Right, according to this, we're not far from it. Right, there should be a slightly brighter star in the middle of the screen after this next exposure. There it is. Is that it there, look? Just top right of screen. That could be it just there. There you go. And it's almost, and it's got a tail. Yes, yes, clear that. It's faint, so just do a stretch, just do that, press some buttons. Yeah, it's got a tail, that has. We've got another one with a tail, guys. Right, shall we get that one a bit more central, just down here, and do a long exposure? So if we move that star to here, that should come to about here. So we move that star to that bottom corner. I think that'll work. So we'll drop that exposure down to about half a second. We'll move that down there, and that should put us in roughly the right place. So what do you think about the way you have to go hunting round to find comets? If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And what would make it easy, if I'd all my alignment set up on my scope so all the go-tos were super accurate. Right, I can get that down that way. Right, let's go back up to 15-second exposure, clear that, and let's see what we've got. My tea's gone cold, could do another cup of tea. Who's up for putting kettle on? Right, that's not quite central, but it's close enough. Let's do a stretch. There she is, and let's just tweak it down a little bit. It's got a nice little tail building up on her there, that one has. So it's another one. That's 3 comets in a matter of 1 week that you've seen. And just tweak that up a little bit. Right, let's go for a 30-second exposure and really see what we can pull out of it. Right, here we go. Let's see what it's going to do for us. There you go. There you go. Let's clear this. Clear the tweaks. There it is, just a blur. And let's do a stretch. Right. I think what we'll do a, I think we used test, didn't we? 90 seconds, luminance, 15 seconds gap, count of 30. Click OK on that. Right, let's do a 90-second one. Let's see what it looks like on 90 seconds. This one's slightly different to the Y4. Its magnitude is about 8.5. Let me just have a check. 8.8. So it is dim compared to what Y4 should have been, but it's nothing compared to Swan. Swan's a naked eye, so tomorrow morning, fingers crossed, we might be able to pick it up and photograph a comet in daylight. It's not directly in line with the sun, we're at a tangent to it, around 90 degrees, so the sun shouldn't be entering the front end of the scope, so it shouldn't be causing too much flare, but I have got a shield I can pop on just to keep it in shade. Right, halfway there. Right, and if any of you new guys there are interested in coming back again, please like and subscribe. Helps me enormously. I know there's people out there that be interested. Although this is not the pro show, it's always interesting and it's always easy going. Here we come, 89, 90 seconds. There we go, let's clear the stretch. And as you can see from that, the comet's moving quite a lot because it stretched that line there. And if we have a look at the stars are pretty round. So the scope's kept its position pretty much as it should, but the comet's moving quite a lot. So a 90-second exposure is just a little bit too much. I think 30 might be the better option to capture it without distortion. Let's do a stretch and let's see what we can tweak out of it a little bit, because you know what I'm like with buttons. We're not going to see anything meaningful because it's distorted itself with a long exposure. So a 30-second exposure might be a better option for that one. So that one has got a tail there. And clear. There you go. So another 90-second exposure is coming up. Five more seconds. And there you go, look. I think that's a background star. And we should see that move on the 30-second exposure. The main body of the coma should move, but that bright spot should stay still as that moves past, or in whichever direction it's travelling, because a comet doesn't necessarily always travel away from its tail. So let's stretch that and do that. And press a few buttons. Not a lot there, so let's clear that. It's definitely moving quite a lot. Right, let's just edit that sequence, drop that back down to 30 seconds, keep it at that, and click apply. Update current luminance filter. Okay, not checked if I'm on the same filter. Yeah, we are on the proper filter. can be a pain sometimes if it swaps when you do a reset. Right, stop that, and we'll see what the temperature of the sensor is as well. Yeah, you can see it tracking sideways, so it's actually coming, if you draw a line from corner to corner, it's actually coming in that sort of a direction. So if we wait for the next exposure, and the sensor's at 13 degrees, I could just do a turning the cooling on a little bit, get rid of that background noise. Right, I think after we've done this, yeah, it's moving across nicely. I think after we've done this set of exposures, I'll just have a quick look round, see if there's anything that I fancy going to look at, and then I might call it a night, because it's gone midnight, and if I'm going to get up in the morning, try and catch Swan at 10:30, I'd rather be fresh when I'm cooking my breakfast rather than burning my toast. So if we make this run of exposures the last, in fact, while it's doing that, I'll have a look on Stellarium, see if there's any nearby targets that are worth visiting. And I'll just take a reference for that location. Right, there's nothing in the immediate vicinity that grabs. There's Bode's Nebula, Bode's Galaxy, sorry, and Cigar Galaxy. Yeah, that's really low. So I can't get on that one. Iris Nebula, I suppose we can go and have a look at that for a minute. The Ghost Bush Cluster. Blinking Planetary Nebula. Magnitude 8.8. Just trying to find something that might be interesting. Cat's Eye Nebula. Has anybody downloaded Stellarium? Because it's free and you can have a look round before the stream. If you put in my location, mile that long, and look on the stream, look on Stellarium for everything above 30 degrees, you can perhaps pick something to go and look at. So if I find you the link for Stellarium, you can all download that software and have a look around the skies. And if you see anything in particular, it's the same software I use to control the telescope. And if you see anything in particular that you like, we can slow over and have a look. And you can play with that software without being online once you've downloaded all the libraries. Got my friendly local neighbourhood cat come to have a look where I'm up to. because I'm working on Thursday, we'll have a go for Y4 from about 9 o'clock onwards. See if we can pick it out and pull any details out of it. But because I'm working early on Thursday morning, I'll call it a wrap up for about midnight, and we might come back and visit this one. We are on exposure number 9 of 30, and I should be able to turn these into another little animation. I've got a lot of data to work on to turn into animations. Yeah, it's moving nicely, that is. That will be moving towards, possibly, is that the one? HIP 40150. That might be HIP 40150, so it might be moving in that direction. I'm just checking up on the main screen. Let's do a bit of a stretch. Whoa. Sensors settle down at 12 degrees. Yeah, it's moving nicely. Exposure number 12. The capture runs slated to finish at 29 minutes past midnight. 14 more minutes, thereabouts. Hi again, Jaden. Yeah, the new software would let me control this all from a laptop. This software here, this EQ mod, this bit, has been upgraded, and it's got a built-in remote server now. So once I've got everything started, I could lock all the doors apart from the roof on the observatory, and remote control it from a laptop in bed if I wanted, I suppose. So that would be something interesting to try. See if I could all remote control it from a laptop instead of sitting in this little room looking out a dark window. Five likes, well, at least somebody liked it. A bit of a disastrous start. I'm a bit disappointed with the planetary camera on the moon. The details are far less than what I was expecting. After it picked up Venus, it picked that up really well. So there's probably a lot more settings to look at, and they did recommend in the software using fire capture rather than anything else. So I might download the fire capture software and experiment with it tomorrow evening. The sky is looking pretty clear as well. Nine more minutes. Clear that. It's not as defined as Y4, this one isn't. Not as strong, it doesn't have a strong tail. I've got a friend who's got a one-shot colour camera that's really wide field. I wonder if he'd be interested in loaning it me for a couple of evenings. It's an Altair 183C colour, and it's a really wide field camera, but it's all colour, and I bet that picks up a lot different set of data. Makes the background look a bit different. So I might give him a bell tomorrow and see if he's up for loaning it to me. But if the skies are this clear, he might be using it himself. Ten more minutes. I think everybody's dozing off, because when you're doing a long capture sequence like this, it gets very boring unless there's something interesting to talk about. It's not what I'd normally do during the stream, but because it's so clear, it seems a shame not to do a capture run, because I can see when this COVID virus job is gone, the pollution's going to build up almost overnight, and we're never going to have these conditions again. It's one of the few positives coming out of this virus. It's difficult to pull much positivity out of it at the moment. I know I've got another year to wait before Jupiter and Saturn become available within my horizons to photograph from the observatory. I could go out with my smaller telescope setup to a dark site and do some image capturing, but at the moment not many campsites would let you on. That's moving quite fast. Yeah, that's moving a lot, even with these within these 30-second exposures. Seven more minutes and that'll be the end of this run, and then we'll assess if there's anything else worth looking at. The wind's picking up a little bit, just a little bit breezy outside. Right, 4 minutes. Definitely a bit of movement building up out there, because they're not round stars. What we got left? 4 exposures. We can stop it, I suppose. Go back to live view. "15 exposures, clear, auto straight left, and there we go." Right, was there anything else you wanted to have a quick look at before I call it a night? Polaris is boring. Doobie's a double star. I suppose we might be able to pick up on the Owl Nebula in mono. Won't get any nebulosity colour, but could slew across to that one. have a look how this comet's going right now. "15 seconds. Let's just pop it back up to 30 seconds and just have the final few frames. Right, I think we'll just call this the last one coming in. Right, coming up to the last few seconds. Right, there you go. Decent one to finish the stream on. Right. It was an interesting stream. We had a few issues at the beginning. That's because it was new equipment, completely unused before. So lesson learned, practice before we start using it. So over the next couple of nights I'll get the camera out and try and find the appropriate settings to get the best from it. The older camera, the QHY, seemed to do a better job on the moon surface, on the lunar surface. So this camera did do a really good job on Venus, and it was really very stable. So before the next time I do anything with the moon, I want to get this new camera equipment nailed and sorted out before I make any commitments. So far this evening we've seen 3 comets in total, I do believe. Sorry, two comets. We've got Y1, T2, and Y4 was just out of range, just below the horizons. So that was something different. For next time, we'll get up early in the morning tomorrow and see if we can get Swan in daylight, which will be a first. So if you're interested in joining for that one, that'll be 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and the stream will start about 1/4 to 1/2. That's about when it's going to be the best horizon height for me, almost due south. As for tomorrow evening or Wednesday evening, I'm not sure whether to try the new camera out on the moon again, or just practice with it before starting a new stream. But anyway, these are things to decide between now and then. So I'll see anybody who wants to join me in the morning. I'll be up around 10:15 online. And if you liked what you've seen, please like and then subscribe to find out anything else we're doing in the future. It's always an adventure when you're looking up, looking out and looking forward. So have a nice evening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed what we did, and better luck next time with the Y4 Comet. Have a nice evening, everybody, and I'll see you all again soon.